Hi, Karen. I'm Judith Albertelli, and I want to thank you for giving us this time and being here today. You've delivered a wonderful message to our women, and I guess my question for you, my number one question is, why are we having, as Republicans, such a hard time delivering our message? You would think that fiscal responsibility, limited government, all those things would resonate with the American people. But we are having a hard time getting that message across. Where are we going wrong?
Well, I think there's a couple of answers to that question. First of all, you can have a message, but unless the Republican Party has credibility on that message, people aren't going to listen. We're the party of fiscal conservatism. That's the message. But in reality, and as we saw in the 2006 election, we're the party that was in charge in Congress, that held the White House, that increased spending, and was sending pork to Republican districts. We're the party that has stood by while some of our members of Congress have been involved in ethical scandals where money is pouring into their districts and actually benefiting their bottom line. So our message has to correspond with the reality of our actions. And until that happens, and until that gets back into balance, I don't think that the American public is going to be very receptive to our message. And the second thing is, we need someone speaking for the Republican Party. And I really believe right now there's a vacuum of leadership in our party. Unfortunately, and I don't say that lightly, but quite frankly, if it wasn't for talk radio, conservative talk radio, this supposedly comprehensive immigration bill would have passed through Congress because there weren't enough Republicans in leadership in Washington, D.C. to hold back the tide. So we've got to practice what we preach. We've got to live with passion what we preach. And we've got to have our preachers who are actually living that message as well.
Okay, so where do we go from here? As you've mentioned, we've had some embarrassments in the party where we definitely have not watched our pennies or lived within our budget. So now we're faced with 2008. How do we address this? Where is our strength? What is our issue?
Well, I think, this is where the 54% project comes in, and the power and the message of women. And I think that, it's been a long campaign cycle so far, and the November 2008 election it's over a year away, but, we need to hold our own Republican candidates accountable. When we have the opportunity to attend town halls or to call into radio shows when they're on talk radio, wherever they are, we need to go to them and put the question to them, what will you do to bring the Republican Party back to the party of conservative values? That's smaller government. How are you going to make government smaller? Fiscal accountability. What's your proposal to spend less money and more efficiently? And what are you going to do to make our nation safer? Whether it's safer at the borders, dealing with the increased drug cartels that are coming into our country, in our communities, in our high schools. What are you specifically going to do? That's where women can have a tremendous impact by putting pointed questions to Republican candidates and getting us back on track and holding them accountable.
Well, I'm so glad you said that. I love the idea of the 54%. We're going to work on that for the next year and a half. We're going to just, talk to women across the country. So we see women as being an effective messenger for the message. We think we have a good message. We don't think that it's always been directed and spoken by the right messengers, and we're hoping to develop that. So how does the internet, the internet is beginning to become a bigger player in elections than ever before. We see more and more people getting their information off the internet, blogging on, sharing their opinions. So how do you think we could best use that as a tool? How can we implement that?
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing Democrats are doing that Republicans haven't done, and I'm not sure why, but this would be a great thing for the 54% project to do, is online fundraising. A couple years ago, Democrats formed a website called actblue.com. ActBlue has raised over $20 million for Democratic candidates. $20 million online. Republicans are not doing that. Now, I know the 54% Project, you're not out there necessarily endorsing specific candidates, but you can raise money to your issue and to your cause. You can be, I think, a real voice through your website. You know, if you don't exist on the web, you simply don't exist in this day and age. Having a strong website with your information, not just so that people can be involved, but so the media understands, has some statistics. We talked today about the fact that we lost some real important Senate seats this last election because women didn't turn out to vote. It would be great to have that statement, back that up with the numbers. Here's how women turned out to vote in this last election. Here's how they've turned out in the past. Here's why it's important for them to turn out in the future. And I think that, websites really anymore, it is the future of media. We heard today from an expert who's been in the TV business for a long time, who says that, probably within the next 10 years, within the next decade, in our lifetime, television news is not going to be what it is today. So I think the more you have a presence on the internet, the more you can build up your organization and raise money for your organization and issues.
Well, thank you so much. You've given us a lot to think about, and we'll certainly discuss that and move forward. And again, thank you for your time, your expertise, your generosity. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.